Howdy everyone, thank you for joining us for our RIVERTREE Academy proposal. My name is Demarius Sills. I'm from Houston, Texas. I did my undergrad in architecture here, and now I'm doing the Bachelor in Land and Property Development program.
Hi, I'm Aditya. I'm doing Masters in Construction Management. I'm an architect too. I was born in Vizag, India.
Hi, I'm Louise. I've done my undergrad in architecture, and currently I'm doing my Masters in Construction Science. I was born in India.
My name is Jacob Rhodes. I am originally from the great city of Lufkin, Texas, and I graduate in May with my undergrad in environmental design.
Howdy, my name is Ravi Sadhu, and I'm a construction management student here. I did my undergrad in architecture. I was born in India.
Okay, and so we are Team 12. We've named ourselves KBRS squared. So, as we've heard many times today, the Como neighborhood is an impoverished neighborhood that's underprivileged and underserved. And many of the education rates are lower here in this area, and a lot of the students succumb to negative influences around them. And so we believe that the RIVERTREE Academy can be a safe haven for those students to get out of those negative externalities. And the way that in which the RIVERTREE will help them with that is by refining their character through embracing God and embracing His natural creations.
So as you see here is our overall site that we were given for this project. The next slide zooms in a little bit closer to the area of the site that we've decided to develop. So what you see highlighted here is the school facility. It's two separate facilities. The one on the right includes classrooms, administration, counseling, library, and a cafeteria. That would be built in Phase 1. And the unit on the left is the recreational center, which would come in Phase 2, which includes a gymnasium and a couple locker rooms. And this would be the unit in which the school would develop for future purposes. So the top image is upon completion of both units of the school. Below that is the recreational center with an outdoor deck. And then below that is the exterior view of the classroom unit. What you see at the top is just a view from the interior library looking out upon the main hall and the cafeteria beyond. The top image is of the library, and the bottom image is what you see as you enter the site, like I said, the two units of the school. Moving on, this is our barn facility. We've chosen to isolate this a bit more from the other parts of the community to give this programmatic space a bit more privacy for what we intend to use the facility for. So this is just the exterior view of what the barn would look like. If you look at the floor plan, you see a large multi-purpose space. We intend this space to be used as a chapel, perhaps a dining facility, a place for venues such as weddings. So we've incorporated an industrial kitchen, a bridal chamber, a couple bathrooms, and storage for all this purpose. This is an interior view which captures a lot of interior light. It creates a very beautiful space. Beyond that, you can open the barn doors and capture the beautiful site that we were given, the landscape beyond, for multi-purpose. So moving on, this is the community we've created by our student cottage arrangement. This would be an exterior view of a cottage and an interior view of a living room and kitchenette space. So we've decided to go with two different student cottage types. One's a larger style to incorporate 16 students and two supervising couples. It's a duplex style while still giving the feeling of a cottage. And this is the smaller of the two units, intended for more students that would need more privacy, so older students. So this would include 8 students and 2 supervising couples. And finally, moving on to our staff housing, we've decided to separate this a bit more from the rest of the community to give the families a bit more privacy for their houses. So this is an exterior view of a staff house. It is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house intended for the use of the family. And this is just an interior shot of the kitchen and the living room. If you'll see here a diagram of visual and site access on site, both publicly and circulation-wise. The central circle is around the school. This is where we intend the most interaction between students and staff. It's kind of the central plaza space of the site. And then as you go beyond that to the student housing, staff housing, it gets more and more private.
Okay, so now that Jacob has told you a little bit about the sensory value that our project adds to the site, I'm going to talk about some of the social cultural. So we focus mainly on safety of the kids here, and so we've outlined the perimeter of the complex with the streets, and we've also made our phasing go outward so that we can minimize the amount of exposure those students have to health hazards. Environmentally, we preserve most of the natural vegetation on site, as well as showcase the different natural features around the site. So we frame the ponds with residential homes. Economic-wise, so we've geared everything towards pushing the natural features of this site to actually get an economic return on that. So if we use the different venues on the complex, or if we hold different things such as performing art shows or trail rides, then that can also bring revenue to the site.
Coming to the physical delivery, as we have mentioned that 5 of us would be forming an entity, we have adopted design build bridging as our project delivery type. So given the period of construction as like 10 years, so we have phased our construction into 4 phases, out of which 3 phases would be the construction and the 4th phase would be the closeout. And each phase is an average of like 24 months. And we have given a breathing space of like 1 year between each phase to ensure the successful functioning of the school.
Speaking of the cost, the entire construction is going to cost about $14.5 million, with the first phase being $7.5 million. Like my colleague mentioned, there is a breathing space between each phase so that to raise funds for the next phase. So you have $3.5 million for the phase B and then 1.5 for the phase.
RIVERTREE Academy is a private Christian school in Lake Como with boarding school and farm facilities in the southeast Hobart that educates under-resourced students to live life well, following Jesus, thriving academically, and transforming their communities. The first phase of the project consists of school block, red barn, and student housing. Existing roads will be retained during construction. Marked in red are the construction logistics with trailers and equipment. The first floor of the school block will be built during the first phase along with the second floor shell. The existing plantation house will be used as a recreational center. The red barn is located slightly further from the school with its own public access. 7 units of student housing will be built during this phase, out of which 2 would be used as staff residence for the next phase. One of the major challenges faced during the construction of this phase was to build a facility without any obstruction to the ongoing school activities. This was taken care by using the periphery roads for the access to the ongoing construction areas. The highlighted areas mark the site mobilization. The second phase mainly consists of construction of recreational block and the interiors of the second floor of the classroom block of the school. 5 more units of student housing will be constructed during this phase. The construction areas are fenced on all sides for safety. This phase would include construction of the rest of the student and staff housing. Substantial amount of farm development would take place in the following phase, which will be followed by closeout. This is how phasing will be sequenced over a period of 10 years.
Okay, and so here we also shown a little diagram of the actual phasing costs in relation to each other, so you can see the percentages that would be outstanding. The actual development budget is actually $18 million because, of course, that includes the infrastructure that needs to go onto the site as well as the building materials. So to activate this site, we focus mainly on using summer camps to kind of generate a great public to come into the actual site and see all of the things that it has to offer. So with that summer camp, you can go on like hikes and excursions of the creek, do water activities, things of that nature. And another thing in particular is the trail rides that we plan to have here. That should be a big hit with the Como neighborhood because we learned on the expedition through Como that horses played a big role in the history of the neighborhood. Facility management wise, it'll be almost $800,000 to operate just the asset. We've taken into account all of the restrictions of easements and the floodplain within our design. And the only thing that may be left to resolve is the annexation and zoning issues. Labor-wise, these are some of the people who you're going to have on your team to deliver this asset. And we want to focus on maintaining a sensitivity to the social-cultural implications of this child labor issue. So we definitely want to incorporate that in our project. These are some of the projections over the 10 years lifespan of the project, and the 10th year we plan it to be stabilized. These are just the numbers on the delivery and the operating expenses as well. And lastly, in order to operate this entire campus, as well as the salaries and things of that nature, it would be about $8 million is what we've come up with, or what we've heard from the directors. And so it would be about $200 to $400 million endowment that would need to be in place to sustain that. And that sounds like a daunting number, but it can be done if we have the help of everyone. So thank you guys for listening to our presentation, and we appreciate your time.